What's up, guys? We're the Sub-Auteurs. I'm Anja.
I'm Mai.
I'm Misha.
Yes, and today we are going to take the red pill and go into a deep
Oh,
dive
oh
of the
my
latest
God.
Matrix Resurrection movie.
I
Wait,
wish I took the
of
blue
the
one in
latest,
this case.
The Matrix
I also
movie.
would like a blue pill, please.
Like,
I think
just
we're
forget
all in
about
agreement that we would have rather taken the blue pill for the Matrix Resurrections.
Oh my God.
Ooh, this is gonna be fun though.
Okay, so without further ado, here we go. Jump into the mirror, guys.
Oh my God, stop!
Sorry, I just needed to
What
insert
the
all the
shit?
references I could.
Oh my God. It's like all these jokes are literally like over 20 years old at this point.
Okay, fresh off watching the fourth Matrix movie, which is, quite unthinkable in my opinion. 'Cause the last one came out, almost 20 years ago? 20 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
Before we talk about what we thought about it, can you tell us about what this movie was?
Nobody can.
What was the point of the movie? Misha?
Can anybody even begin to explain?
It's a reboot quell.
Reboot ko.
It's a reboot quell.
Reboot Quill! Is that
I'll
a new
try.
word from the thesaurus? Because, we kind of had to go through the thesaurus to understand the first
Oh my
Three
God.
Oh no, yeah. Oh, somebody, whoever wrote it, just had a thesaurus nearby. I swear. But okay, I'll try to sum it up in a way. So,
Yeah, let's see.
oh, I'm sweating already. How do we do this? Okay, so
Jumping jacks first. Warm up. Do it now.
Yeah, you can do
I need a
it.
shot. I need a fucking shot for this. But okay. So we are jumping from the events of the last movie, which was The Matrix Revolutions, where now humanity is at peace, safe from machines and evil squid-looking thingies. And unfortunately,
Metal Squidward.
Metal Squidward.
Iron Squidward.
Well, they're kind of grumpy, so that fits somehow. But this piece, unfortunately, is in exchange for the lives of our beloved protagonists, Neo and Trinity. So this is obviously a movie where you need to see all three beforehand. But if you don't, it's okay. They'll keep reminding you anyway. But okay, back to the story. Apparently, though, Neo and Trinity are not dead.
They
What?
were dead. They were dead. They got better.
They got better.
Because of
What's better than
science.
dead? Wait lang,
Robot
what's better
science.
than dead at this point? Inisip ko nasa langit sila, pero hindi. But yes, apparently by some spoiler, which we will discuss later, yes, they are apparently alive, just stuck somewhere in the Matrix.
That's why you
And-
couldn't have a reboot quill without them.
Yes,
Reboot quill.
exactly.
Reboot quill.
Reboot quill
So
is
like
gold.
basically if you took the general plot of the first one, but you took the pretentiousness of 2 and 3,
Oh my
that's
God.
what 4 is.
Yeah, basically that, and you just add a few new characters who have to like find Neo and Trinity. So we'll get to that later, I guess, like how things unfold. But yes, what you need to know, Neo and Trinity are not dead.
No, they're not.
Yes, but how that happened, well, we shall discuss later.
Mhm.
Okay, so now that we have the general plot, as Misha would put it, take the general plot of the first movie and put in the pretentiousness of the succeeding sequels into this one. What did you guys think about the movie?
Oh God.
Who wants to go first?
Can I just preface things by saying I really loved the first one when I first
I
saw
adore
that.
it. I adore
Dude, the first one is
one.
one of the most iconic movies of that era.
I absolutely
yes.
loved it. It was just the right amount of, would you say mindfuck? I wouldn't call it mindfuck personally, but it really made you question reality and fiction or whatever.
Yeah, for sure.
And all these, you also give it the element of like the digital world or virtual reality, which was kind of a big thing back then. We were like entering the 2000s. The whole Y2K thing was a really big deal. Wow, we are showing our age here, but yes, that was a thing.
It's okay. For me, that was the year that came out. The first one was 1999. It's like we were fresh. I was a freshman in high school, and that was the same year that Fight Club came out. So I was watching all this stuff. Really makes you question what's real, what's not. So like I remember after seeing this movie, like a whole bunch of us, me and my friends, we couldn't even fucking talk because we were just like blown away by what we'd seen. The themes, the performances, the visuals, and even like the action sequences. There's a reason that every action movie for the next 10 years kept trying to recreate what they did in that first movie. Sometimes it'll be funny, like in Charlie's Angels, and other times it'll just be cringe, like in every other. But this movie, I think what struck me the most about it was it felt like a direct-to-video sequel. It just felt cheap and inferior in every way. The only thing that told you that it wasn't direct-to-video or direct-to cable, as the case may be, is that it's got the original actors in it, and they're one of the original directors. So, where did this go wrong?
Where? I don't know.
We don't know per se where it went wrong, but let's have Mai's opinion about this movie.
As for me, that was something. I don't even.
Have you lost words to describe the whole thing, the whole experience?
Honestly, I don't know how to feel because, I kinda had fun. Okay, here's the thing. Given the first one was great, kind of brilliant in my humble opinion, but the same can't be said about the sequels. But the Matrix sequels actually get fun when you're in the mindset of not trying to understand everything about it. Because it is such a headache to even try to understand 2 and 3. They overcomplicate things. They've got elaborate plans with technicalities you barely understand to get from point A to point B. Like, oh, we're gonna do this. You go here and then you disable the blah blah blah, and we'll go here and the brut brut and boom boom, and then it's like but just to get from point A to point B, you try to explain the whole plan, which makes sense, but you as a viewer, parang di ko maintindihan. But okay, I'll just watch it. But getting to that point A to point B usually makes for fun action sequences, which I appreciate. And they are filled with unnecessary philosophical mumbo jumbo. And this is coming from me. Like, I am a philo nerd. I love philosophy. I've studied a lot of it. Pero parang at some point, parang gago, trying hard ka na eh. You have to, in dialogues where you don't really need to be talking about, is this choice or is this fate? Like, you don't have to spell it out. Oh my God. So yeah, even to the point that people say it's kind of pretentious, like Misha said. But if you put that aside and just go for a ride with a tinge of hate watching, it's actually pretty fun. And I guess this holds true still for this latest edition of the franchise. So parang I already went into it knowing it was bad, given like I also recently just watched the first 2. So I had my expectations set and I just went with it. And just like, okay. Okay.
I don't know. Like, sa akin, I mean, like, in my opinion, kasi the sequels weren't so complicated in a way na para, they just have to like get to this point, beat the bad guy, and save humanity, which is the basic gist of the whole trilogy. But the thing is, it becomes overcomplicated by them being too pretentious with, putting all these philosophical things in it and trying to inject it with intellect.
Ito
and then it becomes too much to handle na para you lost me with your dialogue. It's like,
yes, exactly. Because you already talk about really deep things like philosophy, and you add the thesaurus factor where it's not really dialogue that rolls off the tongue. Like, who the fuck talks like that? I know it's a digital age or whatever, but it's just making things harder to be explaining these concepts which you shouldn't be explaining in the first place with such complicated word choices.
Ergo, vis-a-vis, concordantly.
I don't know.
And then you get to this fucking movie, the fourth one,
Oh my god.
which is trying to jump on the whole trend of reboots and sequels that take place decades after their originals. And it's trying to be clever in commenting on the whole trend of that. And it's trying to be meta, but it's failing in pretty much every area.
It's trying to be relevant in a way about what's in the now.
Yeah, but it's not. It doesn't know how to do it.
Yeah, it gets lost in a lot of ways. You know, like I kind of enjoyed picking out where exactly and when exactly they would do it. And you know, like if I watched this without this frame of thinking, I probably would have thought it was a stupid movie. I still do think it's a stupid movie. It's a pointless movie. But it made it fun.
Yeah.
I went into it because I wanted to give it a chance. I figured there's no way it can be as bad as 2 and 3.
You were wrong.
I was so fucking wrong. This movie is so far up its own ass, it can see out of its own mouth. That's how bad it is.
You know, Mai and I have you to thank for actually enjoying the experience of watching the fourth one, because you kept ranting about how you hated the fourth movie and how so far up its own ass it was. That was the dumbest movie you've seen in 2022. We actually enjoyed it because we were having fun nitpicking like certain events, certain lines of the movie where we thought like, oh my god, what the
you
hell
know
did
how
just
bad it was?
Prine-empt mo kami, kaya natuwa
I'm
na kami.
sorry. I'm so sorry.
No,
but,
we thank you.
But
we
you
thank
know,
you.
You spared us.
Sing 2 made more money than this movie on opening weekend.
Oh my god, really?
Yes, that's
That
how
is
bad. And this is I'm not even blaming the pandemic at this point, because fucking Spider-Man got 1.6 billion in the bank already at this point. So it's really just their fault that it's a bad movie.
Sing 2 isn't bad. Apparently Sing 2 is
Okay, fine.
good.
I'll put it another way. This movie made for a worse December opening weekend for Warner Brothers than Wonder Woman 84 opening at the height of the pandemic. It made less money than Wonder Woman 84 at the height of the pandemic.
Here's the thing. Here's this will be my opinion about the Matrix Resurrection. I think, you know, it does have its, you know, good qualities in it. Like it's beautiful. Like everything's been beautifully done. Set design, or you know, just the visuals are just stunning. Like it's you know, it's you do know that
Really?
the Wachowskis. No, I mean like not okay. The parts where you see the cyberpunk influence in it. It's just, dude, it looks great. But that's it. It's basically a beautiful mess. The movie didn't know where it wanted to take the audience, while also overloading its audience with so much information about the past 3 movies, where it just becomes messy and, quite frankly, dull.
I didn't find it beautiful. I found it generic, honestly.
I don't know. I liked the imagery of Io.
And I don't know. It's they say that some time has passed since the trilogy, but then you go to Io and it looks pretty much like, you know, like Zion.
Ay, oh. Sorry. Lang masabi.
And there was like not a single iconic action sequence in this movie. Not one.
That's true. That is true. At least like we say that 2 and 3 are kind of bad, but they gave us iconic imagery. At least, at the very least, they had.
That fight scene in the foyer in 2.
Ooh, good.
That was like, all right, those had really stunning stills.
Mm.
Or like even how stupid the whole last rain fight between Smith and Anderson was. I mean, why did it have to be raining? But okay, fine.
Fighting in rain looks cool.
While flying, okay, they're flying in the rain and punching each other. Okay,
Dragon Ball fighting.
Yeah, at least that was iconic, I guess. Even we didn't understand it, but
and they're the movie's allusions to things that happened before and acting like it's so clever for pointing out the references. And then going so far as to fucking show you the references by inserting the footage. I'm like, what the how stupid do you think we are?
Well.
So even if you were somebody who's like super invested and Easter eggs and whatever, Or even if you say that, it's like a poem, it rhymes, they're doing the same verses again or whatever. You can't even get that satisfaction because they beat you over the head with it by actually showing you the sequences that they're referencing.
I think that's where they took the whole show don't tell reference or show don't tell saying quite too literally.
Well, they were doing it since the second movie, so...
Oh my God, that second movie.
They've been doing it since then, so I'm not surprised.
I was so excited for that second movie. I remember, by this point I was in college. Like, oh my God, you got to see this movie, guys. The first one was awesome. And then, the fuck did we just watch?
You really have no problems dating yourself now, huh?
Yeah, I know, right?
Well, since we're already there, I kind of want to ask you guys. So for those of you who don't know, the past Matrix trilogy was directed by the Wachowskis, but for this one, only Lana returned to make the sequel.
Right.
So, Misha, would you know the story behind that?
Apparently, that they actually mentioned it in the movie. Warner Brothers was going to make it with or without them.
Kakainis.
And Lily was like, I don't want to do something we already did 20 years ago. What for? What's the point? And Lana was all like, but it's our baby. So, yeah, she took the reins and ran with it. And I guess tried to make the best of a bad situation. But it didn't help.
Sorry, I had to laugh.
They're not the same people they were 20 years ago. So if you're going to try and revisit your past works, try to put yourself back in that mindset when you're an angry young filmmaker, you're not going to get that same vibe because you're not that person anymore.
Yeah, I just had to laugh because that when that scene happened, I was like, oh my God, they really had to be so meta in this movie.
What scene?
That scene where they reference the whole situation. The Warner Brothers want us to do the Matrix 4 and now we have to do it.
Oh my God.
Right,
oh God, they're trying to be so meta.
Oh yeah, so there was that scene. It's not just one scene, okay? It's not just Jonathan Groff.
You can make a compilation of scenes in this movie.
And even like the brainstorming of the whole team. So apparently, so Neo is back to being Thomas Anderson. Now apparently a really
Mr.
well-renowned
Anderson.
Video game designer. So he made the Matrix video games. He has the toys to prove it and ingit si Misha.
He had all the McFarlane action figures in his office. Like, what the shit?
They're statues, Misha. They didn't move.
They're figures. You shut your face hole.
Ingit ko lang. Okay.
Ingit ka lang. Wala ka nun.
I will take the silence as agreement. So, so Neo is actually there somewhere. Is it the Matrix? Is it real life? We don't know at this point because he's having problems apparently with his mental health, trying to tell which is reality. Was his video game actually a part of his past? Was he actually making memories out of it? So now that they're brainstorming the fourth installment, wink wink, like this movie, like
so
he and his team of brainstorming crew, the programmers, creatives, exactly, and they were like, so what is our brand? What is it all about? It's fighting blood. It's
what is the Matrix?
Yeah, like it's a message against capitalism or crypto, whatever. Like they go on this debate.
You just need a neuro trigger to whatever. I was like,
it's bullet time.
Oh God, I really wanted to hit Jude. I really want to hit that guy in the face.
What the shit?
Why does this guy sound like a cheap Mr. Anderson sounding Agent Smith?
I know. It's just it doesn't suit the tone. I see what they were going for. They were going for like meta.
Yes.
Okay, but the first three movies were taken so seriously that now that you jump to this reboot, why are there jokes like this? It doesn't
That's
make sense.
It's so jarring.
It is jarring
and
because
they're not even good jokes.
Yeah, and
they're not.
I appreciate self-awareness, but it was cringy because it's like a totally different tone from the last three.
Yeah, I mean, there is a way to make your movie meta. There's also a way to make your movie self-aware, but not overbearing, because this just felt so overbearing. in my opinion, because they were forcing it down your throat. So, oh, we're trying to be meta. You should all be understanding all these references that we're pulling in the movie. It's like,
maybe they thought like if they called it out, then nobody else can. But the problem is they kept on calling it out over and over and over in the least subtle ways possible. To the point where, they were already pretty much just remaking the first one and explaining it to you every step of the way.
You know how I see it as, that, I don't know, maybe you have a friend like this, or maybe you don't, or maybe just know an acquaintance, that they just keep bringing up their flaws that you don't really care about in the first place. It's like, I'm gaining weight, and expecting you to be like, no, it's okay, you're not. Parang ganun. Yung impression ko. And then if you finally be the one to say na parang, yes! Kung magsawa ka na, no, parang, oo na, ma-offend siya.
Yun ba yung mga tipong, does this dress make me look fat? No, your fat makes you look fat.
I kind of get your point, Pai, and I agree.
Yeah, it makes so much sense.
Oh, look, I'm just, parang, I wouldn't have noticed if you didn't point it out in the first place.
Yeah. And I think if they left that whole meta commentary to, there's this one character, what we said earlier, the analyst, because Mr. Anderson is now going to a therapist, right? A psychoanalyst who is played by Neil Patrick Harris, Barney Stinson. Probably the worst choice for a therapist ever. But,
because Barney has issues.
What? You know what? He would be the best. You know why?
Would he be the best?
Because he's awesome.
Ew.
Every session would be legend. Wait for it.
Ew.
No, but like, okay. It probably wouldn't.
Anybody who owns that Barney Stinson book and lives by it, red flag.
The bro code.
Red flag. Just, for the ladies out there. If he swears by that, red flag.
Even for the men, yeah, don't. Just don't.
No, yeah. Mm-mm.
Okay, so like if they kept the whole meta commentary to that character, because it is literally his job to analyze everything that's going on, maybe it would have been more acceptable, but they were putting this dialogue, this meta commentary into every fucking person's mouth in this movie. And it was so bad. Like they would literally say things like, people hate sequels, people hate reboots, so we're going to be doing this and this and this, or why would we do it in the first place? I'm like, stop talking. You sound like a fucking focus group. And asking our questions doesn't make you smarter than us, because the whole point of this movie existing is you fuckers should have had an answer for that before we entered the theater,
Like, you should know. How do you know?
The whole impression to me when Lana Wachowski decided to come back for this project was just felt like an obligation, because this was my baby with Lily. Yeah. So if Warner Brothers says they're going to push through with a project like this, even if we're not on board, I should probably do it. I'd feel obligated to. That was my impression. Like, she didn't even bother, trying to take care of it at the very least. Now we know which Wachowski like kung fu, like choreographing or filming kung fu action sequences.
Oh my God.
This movie did not have any great fight scenes.
Yeah. Misha's right. Generic fight scenes. Not as iconic as
generic shootouts also.
Yeah.
It was literally just people pointing guns at each other and shooting them.
Yeah, there was no hint of any gun fu, any hint of any homage to those really great kung fu action sequences they had in the last three, in the first three movies.
They didn't bother bringing back Yuan Wu Ping to choreograph the action.
Aww.
For those of you who don't know, Yuan Wu Ping choreographed everything from fucking Drunken Master in the 70s to fucking, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon in the 2000s. And he choreographed those three Matrix movies and helped popularize that kind of style of fighting in the West. It was and it was iconic. But here there's just nothing.
Yeah, it's just
punch, kick. And
it's just generic breaking
up, down, AB.
Yep, up, down, AB. Hadouken!
There's nothing inventive. There was nothing, imaginative. There was nothing iconic. It was just the whole fucking movie was just, hey, you remember this? The whole movie was just that.
By the way.
Okay, so now that we've got all our gripes out, not even gonna say all our thoughts.
I also have gripes.
Okay, fine.
while we're
Okay,
still while we're still in the direction, we mentioned earlier that the meta-ness was a disconnect. Another disconnect for me personally was how different it looked.
Yes.
It was, for some reason, it felt glossier and warmer than the first three.
Yes.
Like,
Alright.
how do you put it?
I kind of have my theory for that.
Uh-huh.
But I guess it's because, they have better cameras now that we could shoot in 4K.
No, but still.
But I like the style of the first one. They don't have to shoot it in film.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
The first 3 Matrix movies were designed supposedly by the architect. And this one was supposedly designed by the analyst.
So you're saying it's a new program.
It's a new program, re-engineered, redesigned by a new, manager.
That makes sense.
I get it.
But that's the only logic I can see.
Okay. I remember the last ones being grittier and literally more madungis, for lack of a better term, because especially in the Zion sequences where everybody was just like sweaty and never washed their clothes.
And having a rave while machines were coming to kill them.
Yes. Color palettes were even cooler back then, like literally cooler toned.
Yeah.
And I guess it was symbolizing how cold the world is, being invaded by machinery and stuff. But it just doesn't feel as visually connected to the first 3. I mean, just looking at them, it feels like another time or maybe a different franchise altogether.
Here's the thing. They may have also explained it why. Because this movie is supposedly 60 years after that whole thing. So they had 60 years to develop this new city with artificial intelligence with them. So it's not just really the humans now. It's like humans and robots, programs working hand in hand now, living together in unison, creating something. They even did an artificial sky. They can make strawberries now. They can have gardens, whereby in the last 3 movies, they didn't have the luxury of food. They didn't have the luxury of organic food back then. Right?
Yeah.
So I think there's some explanation to why there's that difference.
I get it.
Yeah.
But if you just look at it big picture, well, we understand since we know these details. But if you just like zoom out a little bit and put screen caps of the first 3 movies next to this one, it looks like a totally different movie. At some point, it looks like John Wick. Because not just because of Keanu's hair and his facial hair.
Yeah, I get that. Because part of what made the original film, I'm not even going to get into the sequels, but to some degree also the sequels, what made them visually distinct was, the treatment. It was cyberpunk, sure, but it also had a touch of film noir. And, they were dark and, fine. There was a fucking green filter over the screen whenever they were in the Matrix, just to differentiate it between that and the real world. But if you're saying that because it's a new program and it's more perfect than the old Matrix.
I wouldn't say perfect though.
Or it's a new version, fine. That brings up a question in my head. Was that green filter? I mean, I know it was there for our benefit to know, so that we would know when we were in the Matrix, when we were watching the real world. But was that green treatment? Could they also see that? The people who were in it? Honest question.
If they did,
that's a good question.
I have an answer. If they did, they would have told us by now because they're so meta.
Because also a very good answer.
If they were just trying to make this new world look as, coloring book friendly and flat as humanly possible, then okay, I guess. But, I don't think anybody was complaining or saying, how come our world's so green? I don't think anybody cared. So I ask again, could they see it? Or is that really just for us?
Maybe, I don't know. I think it was just really for us.
And, the treatments of the action scenes also. Bullet time was like the biggest thing for a while. And it might surprise a lot of younger filmmakers now. Like that iconic shot of the camera spinning around at full speed while the characters are moving in slow motion. That was literally set up by having 250 still cameras set up in a semicircle and having them go off at high shutter speed sequentially, and then running it through, playing them as if they were from one strip of film. And that was great because it was something we'd never seen before at the time. Even the second one, they had, they literally built like a mile and a half of actual fucking highway to shoot their highway chase so they could control it. In this one, I didn't feel that. I didn't feel any kind of effort to give us something iconic. The most iconic thing, I think, was just people committing suicide. On committing suicide on passing cars.
Half the directorial team came back, so there's half the effort. Ano ba?
Wow.
Oof.
There's just one Wachowski now.
Oof.
Yeah, but even one Coen brother is still making good fucking movies without the other.
Fair enough.
This is just sad.
I have no argument. I have no argument to back up my claim.
Well, I mean, I was rooting for Lana. I
also was. And Keanu. We all love Keanu.
I don't love him so much here.
I don't know. He's just the same character in all his movies, except maybe Bill and Ted.
Oh, and that's another thing. Because like, in the first one, he was like your average 20-something slacker, whatever, right? Just jacked into the internet, doesn't give a shit about anything. He's antisocial, all that stuff. But, you know, he's destined for great things, right?
Still on dial-up, probably.
Still on dial-up.
Most likely.
And, you know, following Alice in Wonderland references.
Oh my God. We'll get to that later.
But in this movie, when you're seeing somebody who's in their 50s still acting pretty much the same way, Keanu, we love you, man, but you do not have the range to pull off that kind of a midlife crisis thing that your guy is going through in this movie, where you're wondering if like your best days are behind you, or if if you're really just gonna get stuck in doing the same thing over and over again.
Didn't Agent Smith kind of call him out for that? Like, look at you, the balding nerd, and look at me.
Well, to be fair, Keanu has shown the most range for the Matrix movies here compared to the last three. At least more range of emotions, because at some point he was questioning if he was getting deranged or not, and he was freaking out. But I still wasn't convinced. I'm sorry. Keanu, I love you. I mean, it didn't have that same level of commitment compared to, let's say, when he was playing a douchebag version of himself in Always Be My Maybe.
That was great.
Effective.
That was great. He committed. Yes.
Like, but why don't I believe this?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why. I can't explain it.
He was basically playing, you know,
he was playing sad Keanu meme.
Yeah, exactly.
Or is it a case of what somebody mentioned earlier, just not being the same person anymore? If that's the case for Lana, maybe it's also the case for Keanu. That was he actually feeling like I was done with this 20 years ago? I don't know.
You know what's surprising though? Carrie Ann Moss. I kind of believed her.
Oh yeah.
She was bringing it.
She was gorgeous. She was amazing.
In the very brief sequences that we had her in, it's Carrie Ann Moss.
Like after the second or third meet cute, you know, I was still on board. I was still on board.
Ang daming ang meet cute dito.
I know. Like, oh my God, if I was that woman's husband, I would be so mad at both of you right now. What the hell?
I believed her in this new world. I believed her as a mom for some reason, as Tiffany.
As somebody who, you know, she was in a different place in her life and she owned it. I liked it.
Like she has 3 kids but still fucking loves Ducatis. How badass is that?
I know.
Yes.
Keanu was just a variation of whatever the fuck he was doing 20 years ago.
Yeah, so we talked about both Keanu and Carrie Ann Moss. We've seen them in the 3 previous movies. What can you say about the new cast members?
Well, define new. New as in totally new characters, or new faces but the same characters?
Oh my God, why did they do that?
This be specific, because there are like familiar
new the new faces in general.
Different faces.
New blah. Nalito tuloy ako.
Okay.
What about new faces in general?
I think that, you know, I think Mai is thirsty for Jessica Henwick.
Excuse me, ako lang lang ba?
I
Hindi.
think we
Hindi
all
lang
are.
ako.
Mag-first segment ba muna tayo?
Excuse me? You're trying to put it on me when before we hit record, all three of us was were thirsting over bugs. But
Okay,
yes.
I mean, yes, it's
everyone's thirsting over Jessica Henwick.
I kind of hate the name though. I
Bugs.
really kind of hate the name though.
I can explain it. I can explain the name.
Because
Besides computer/bugs. Okay, I can explain it. So it's very on the nose. So she does say it at the start. Bugs as in bunny. And she has a rabbit tattoo, as in the rabbit who takes Alice to Wonderland.
like the girl with the fucking tattoo in the first movie. Because
Yes, like
that's
the first
that's the kind of reboot quill we're watching,
And then
guys.
Q White Rabbit.
Q White
Yeah.
Rabbit. Oh my god.
As they tirelessly love to reiterate as a reference in this franchise.
Ay,
Ta-da!
nako.
Bugs.
Diba? Down to the point of he's even going through the looking glass again. Like, oh my god, stop.
But okay, back to Jessica Henwick.
Okay,
We
yes.
love her.
She's amazing.
She is a joy to watch. I actually haven't seen her in anything else. I know you guys are fans even from Iron Fist. But this is the first time I've seen her on screen, but she was an absolute joy to watch. And okay, getting to the thirst, the accent. Oh my goodness. Which apparently isn't present in Iron Fist. Like
Iron
you guys
Fist?
said.
She
You
plays an
saw her
American
with her
in Iron
accent.
Fist.
She had her accent in Game of Thrones.
Oh, right. But, here, I don't know why she's just so much hotter. I don't know if it's the blue undercut or even just the styling. I love those orange harem pants she was wearing at the
She was
beginning.
cool.
So cool.
She deserves so much to be in a better movie. And just as a side note, she actually turned down Shang-Chi to be in this one because she so loved her Iron Fist character. She knew if she came back as somebody else in the MCU, and this is before they more or less decided whether or not the Netflix shows counted, that she realized she didn't want to eliminate any chance of coming back as Colleen Wing. So she's like, okay, I'll just do something else first. And then if they want me back in the MCU for my OG character, I'm game for that. I mean, I love her for that.
I respect that.
Mhm,
Yes.
absolutely.
Performance-wise, also, she did bring it for this movie.
Yeah. Actually, at the start, when we get introduced to her right off the bat, I thought there was potential for good action sequences because she was doing like jumping off the walls thing and like
Yes,
flipping
yes.
over and shooting guns, but it doesn't get any better than that, to be honest. So I had
Yeah.
high hopes because of her.
Actually,
Yeah.
it might have been a better movie if it was about her. And then Neo and Trinity were just like maybe, at the end.
I would not complain.
Honestly,
I
because
honestly would not complain because
No.
the only thing I would ask for right now is for them to expand on the lore.
yes, rather than just giving us the same shit that we had, 20 years ago when everybody was making a better movie.
Exactly. Didn't they say that also in the movie?
Well, that takes us to like the concept of reboots, sequels, and
Reboot quells.
remakes.
And reboot quells.
Remake is when you change everything but you keep the title. Reboot is you do the same shit but you add youth and diversity. A sequel is when, you just add on to something existing. So like this one didn't know what it wanted to be.
Hence reboot quill.
It's a reboot quell.
Yeah.
Reboot quill.
And they introduced a lot of new characters, which I get.
Yes,
60
I
years later,
appreciate.
this is a new era. But I actually personally enjoyed the new, like literal new characters.
I wanted to see more of them. Yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
So we have a new breed of fighters, which gives
Yeah.
us a Sense8 reunion.
Yeah, that was so weird.
It was so cool though. It's like probably one of my favorite things about the movie because
One of the movie saving graces
so much.
for me.
So we see Erendira Ibarra, Brian J. Smith, and Max Remelt, aka Daniela, Will, and Wolfgang. And also at some point, Amanita's there as one of the random office mates, one of the brainstormers per
Yes.
se.
One of the meta people.
Yes.
Yeah. And I'm just so happy to see them all back together, even if they're second bananas or maybe third, fourth banana for one of them. But it's probably one of my favorite things about it. It's just to see them all together again was just like, oh, my Sense8 heart. I'm so happy. Thank
And
you.
Something that's
Thank
interesting.
you, Lana. Thank you.
Something that's interesting about the whole Sense8 and the Matrix thing is because a lot of people, even in 1999, were reading the original Matrix as a commentary on LGBTQ, on trans, on what is identity, finding your true self, being able to express yourself, what's real, what's not. And this was years before the Wachowskis came out as trans. So, it was always a subtext. And they were able to really push it stopped being subtext by the time they got to Making Sense 8. And it was really great to see how they progressed with that. I think that's what makes this one all the more disappointing.
Jarring.
It just feels regressive in a lot of ways because it's just doing something safe and something it's comfortable basically.
Yeah, jumping from Sense 8 to
Right?
this.
Like you already did Sense 8 and now we're back to this.
But if there's something I'm grateful for, it's just like seeing the cast together.
It's nice seeing them. Yes, it's absolutely
thank
nice.
You. Thank you for that, Lana. Okay, but that's me fangirling.
There was this one cast member that I was kind of surprised with and also kind of underwhelmed with also that I didn't appreciate. The inclusion of Jonathan Groff as surprise, Agent Smith.
Ooh, we're here now in the face of like new faces but old characters. Okay.
Yeah, I mean like,
oh god,
dude, Agent Smith was this really intimidating character in the first 3 movies. He had this lazy drawl. When he would say his lines, when he would deliver his lines, it would scare the shit out of you. Like, all the people, all the rebel fighters in the Matrix, that when they hear that, they all go like, "Oh shit, it's an agent! It's Smith! He's there!" And they all run. All run. And this time, you have Agent Smith, who's guess what? A Silicon Valley tech mogul in loafers, played by Jonathan Groff. Do you expect me to believe that this guy can beat the shit out of, like a 50-year-old Neo? I don't think so.
Wow.
I think... See, it's like the whole time they were fighting, all I could see was King George. In his white wig.
Oh my god, yes.
And knee-high socks.
Oh my god. I adore Jonathan Groff. Well, I agree that he is not as scary as
not at
Hugo
all.
Weaving.
No.
He's iba kasi yung effect ng si Hugo Weaving would just like menacingly say, "Mr. Anderson."
Yeah,
but
and you're fucked.
Yeah, but Jonathan Groff screams it. He literally screams it, "Mr. Anderson!"
And just like it's like
magugulat lang ako. Pero
did you miss your therapy session? I mean, come on, what are we yelling about? Dude.
He played it. Well, it's Jonathan Groff. He's from theater. So
it's a choice.
He played it very theatrically, which was not what Agent Smith was about. He was not theatrical at all. But you could just like feel it in your bones that, oh, Jonathan's a theater guy.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But here's one more thing about Jonathan. I was just really happy for him to see him in a fight sequence. I know you didn't like it, but I was just like, as a person, as a fan, I'm like, no, look at you doing fight sequences. Not threatening, but look at you. Okay, I'll stop fangirling.
No. I mean, for me, it's like I'm always happy to see him, but I just want him to make more fucking Mindhunter. What are you doing?
Well, yeah.
I would rather see him in Mindhunter than
go make good stuff.
That's true. I'd rather see him in Mindhunter.
And then you have. Are we gonna go to the other guy? Fuck it. Yeah, we're way past spoiler point. You have Yaya Abdulmatin, who was great in Candyman, who was, pretty decent in Aquaman, and now he's the new Morpheus. And that's not even a spoiler. I mean, that was in the fucking posters, that was in the trailer, and here he is looking for all the world like a 1970s pimp in the suits that they give him.
Hey,
and I don't understand.
Well, it's not. Okay, fine.
He's literally dressed like the Joker at one point.
Hey,
here's the thing.
Here's the thing.
He looks great, but Morpheus was never fly.
I don't think the whole latex and leather thing would work in this, for this cast. Well, the two leads.
Well,
at their age now.
At some point, they were wearing leather and black and the shades and all, but Morpheus, and just it doesn't make sense for him to wear all those colored suits, no matter how good he looks in them.
But he's not the same Morpheus. This Morpheus is a program with the same name, but not the same Morpheus. It's a totally different character, probably, based on...
That just reinforces what I was on earlier. They could have just done it with the new Agent Smith, with the new Morpheus, let Bugs have her adventure. That would have been cool. That would have been a cool movie. And then maybe get advice from Neo somewhere along the line. But making the movie about, Keanu Reeves' midlife crisis, it's kind of sad.
Yeah, this movie could have been all about Bugs trying to retrieve Neo and Trinity and saving them because she believed that she found out they were still alive, and I wouldn't care. Because it's not about Neo and Trinity.
And
as far as I'm concerned, as a fan,
their story ended already.
Exactly, their story's over.
He saved her. He brought her back to life with the power of love. And now, 20 years later, he made her see the truth with the power of love.
Oh my God.
We touch hands and suddenly things explode. Boom.
Oh my God.
In a crowded room where we are being separated by henchmen, we try to reach out for each other's hands.
Correction. In a coffee shop called Simulate.
Simulate. Oh my God. I swear to God, the Neo Trinity reunion scenes were just so damn cheesy. I can't. You can't live without each other. Jesus Christ.
I know.
I could finally say na nakahanap si Zack Snyder ng katapat sa over-gratuitous slow motion sequences, ha? As in.
Sa mga meet cute. In one of the bajillion meet cutes here.
I know. Over and over again.
Oh my God. But
we'll meet cute at the counter. We'll meet cute here at the table. We'll meet cute at the door.
We'll meet cute at the garage.
Good God.
And this is what disappoints me. You have this beloved franchise, and Neo and Trinity really up there in iconic couples because they both kick ass. And she would follow him to the ends of the earth because she believes in him. That kind of connection was already there in the first three. And like you said, the story already ended. But here, it's so disappointing how they've been reduced to this cheesy message na lang. It wasn't even, I don't know, I can't explain. Parang, hindi na sila...
So at some point, it's not an action movie meant to question reality na.
It's their love story, which transcends realities, it seems. Because even Neil Patrick Harris, the analyst, he calls it out. That no matter how many times they tried to, create a perfect reality for Neo, it just wouldn't work if she wasn't in his life. So we had to bring her back to life too.
Oh my God. Siya bigla. It's the first three were questions of existential questions or choice, blah, 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 blah. These are internal struggles. But suddenly, this is a codependent thing where you can't live without the other. Parang philosophically, hindi din siya swak sa first three.
Yes.
Hindi nga.
And it doesn't help that, I guess that at some point they heard the criticism that for the most part, especially in the first movie, Neo is pretty much one of those guys who is, he's not the best or the most qualified or whatever, but he's going to save us all because he is the one. Even if Trinity is so much better at this job than any of them, she's going to give it all up for this one guy just because the Oracle says he's the one. So in this movie, they try, I think, and rectify that a little bit. But by the time they come out with it and they have her flying around like she's Superman.
It's huh?
It's oh, fuck, you didn't even set that up. What the shit? You're just doing it because it's trendy.
That came out of nowhere. They didn't even try to explain why.
And they were trying to make it a big emotional moment that look what she can do.
It wasn't. It was just, in a sense, okay, fine. Maybe if your emotion was confusion and anger. And,
you know what I was thinking when they jumped off that building and it's we have to believe Like, yeah, sure, Keanu.
Is confusion even an emotion? Because this movie made me feel confused.
I was remembering that bit where The Rock and Samuel L. Jackson jump off the roof at the beginning of The Other Guys. that was the only thing I could think of.
And you had Hero playing
in the background as they died because they jump off the roof and it's magic hour, it's slow-mo, and fucking Hero is playing.
And they die.
But in this case, I kind of wish they did.
Oh.
I kind of wish they did at that point of the movie because I was just so bored.
Or you were just so annoyed at Keanu pushing everything.
Yeah.
I
With
hated
his
the
powers.
full
What the
force
shit
push
was
thing.
that? Okay, so you got force push now. Why in the world do you get into a fist fight if you could do that the whole time? I mean, same as in 2 and 3. If you can fly, why the fuck are you getting into a fist fight in the first place? Just fly away. You got 2,000 Agent Smiths, fly away, But here, people are shooting at him and he's force pushing them left and right while Trinity is driving the bike. And it's just meh.
While so-called bots are bombing them with their...
That was kind of
bodies.
disturbing, watching people commit suicide.
That was fucked up.
that was fucked up.
But it was
And
like
they were
too
like
little.
zombies. They were more like zombies than bots for some reason.
It was just too little too late, I think, at that point.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, they're trying to do something, but I don't care anymore.
Can you just die?
No, they're on a
Grabe.
bike. This is just boring.
Oh, well, seeing Trinity on the bike, though, I kind of missed that. It was cool, but just Keanu at the back, force field pushing things
You're right.
for the nth time was like...
Here's my thing with
so cool already.
Here's my thing with references and callbacks and things like that. Those things only really work if they're at the service of a new story. But the new story has to come first so that the fan service is just a bonus. But if you're building a whole movie around fan service, and it's not even good fan service, you have The Matrix Resurrections.
That's true.
Oh.
It's like just reference after reference after reference. You know what it was like? It was like when your grandma drops LOL into conversation to try and sound cool. That's what it was like.
Oh.
Yes.
Right?
I agree.
Especially the post-credit scene. Like, holy shit. Okay? Because, fine. At some point, we were all obsessed with cat videos on the internet. That's still a thing to some degree. Let's make a joke about it. Kids will love it. No, we won't.
No.
Well, you won't.
You should have seen. You should have seen Anjo's face prior to recording. We were kind of like talking about it, and Anjo was like, "Wait, there's a post-credit scene," and we were like, "Ooh, watch it now while we're on Zoom. We want to see your reaction." And his face was the most confused I have ever seen him.
He was like a part of his soul died.
A part of my soul did die. Well, like another part of my soul did also die while watching this movie.
Oh my god!
How far have you guys fallen from the first movie to this?
I would like you to verbalize your feelings from an hour ago, please.
Share.
There are no words. I cannot articulate my thoughts and my feelings about what I saw in the post-credit scene. Because it was the dumbest thing I've ever seen anybody insert as a fucking post-credit scene in a fucking blockbuster movie. Air quoting, blockbuster.
So angry. I love it.
I wasted like 2 minutes. We could have been recording 2 minutes earlier.
I'm sorry. Misha and I enjoyed it though, so that was just for us.
Yes, it brought us joy to see your pain. I'm sorry. There was more joy we got out of this movie.
Okay, so we talked about, Misha talked about references upon references upon references upon references. Okay. Did any scene in this movie stand out to you guys?
In a good way, because I feel like we were saying everything in a bad way. I feel kind of bad for it now.
No,
We've
I mean
been
like
trashing it
stand
the whole
out,
time.
good or bad, and explain why.
Okay. anything with Jessica Henwick is good. I'm just trying to find
No,
the
that
silver
doesn't
lining
count.
here.
That doesn't count. That's a cop out.
I'm gonna say one of the meet cutes in the Simulate
Oh
coffee
my
shop
God.
because
Oh my God!
because
Stop calling it simulate. It's annoying.
because it's somebody
The
was
coffee
being-
shop.
Fine, the coffee shop. And it's like these two actors. When you get Keanu and you have Carrie Ann Moss, I honestly think that they have some kind of chemistry. I'm not
yeah.
gonna lie.
Hmm.
And in fact, I think they have more chemistry here than they did in any of those Matrix movies previously where they were supposed to be in love. Because here, I think you can genuinely see that they like working together. They play well off each other, you know? I could literally see them in an actual rom-com or something.
I'd love
I
to
would
see
pay.
that.
I would pay to watch that.
Yes, I would pay to see that.
In the
Or-
first Matrix trilogy, there was just no spark. There was no heat. They were just in love because they said they were in love. I didn't feel anything. That's why when she died and he Jesused her back to life in the fucking Matrix sequels, I was just like, I just don't buy it. He's just doing it because that's what the...
Jesus
It's
search
true.
of life.
It's fucking true.
I lost it.
And then when he, you know what? Okay. When Mai was watching 2 and 3, because we told her you gotta watch 2 and 3 to get up to speed on 4, she's like, okay, fine. And she was complaining. She was like live messaging us her reactions, and it was amazing, you guys. We should do that sometime on this channel. But
It's all. It's if just for you listeners. It's all in all caps of her complaining and ranting. It was the best.
I was complaining about their skin to the hairlines at some point.
Oh my
like
God.
Those
To
twins.
the words they were using.
I saw an interview with the twins. They are the whitest guys ever. And they look nothing like that. You'll be even more offended when you see what they look like in real life. They look like the Weasleys. But anyway. Those fucking albino twins look like the Weasleys. I'm sorry.
Is that better than how they looked in the second movie? 'Cause-
They look like they were like a hate crime in the second movie. But
oh my God.
no, I was gonna say was you were so mad, you were so upset, and I figured, you know what? It's been a few years. I'm just gonna put the second movie on. So I put it on for the last 30 minutes, and I was like, time has not been kind to you. This is still stupid. And then when it fucking ends with the machines carrying him out and his arms stuck out in the crucifix pose because he died for the machine sins, I'm like, what the fuck am I watching?
After he dies, then the Deus Ex Machina goes, "It is done."
Fucking hell. man.
It is finished. You know what? It's done. Those are literally the words God said after Jesus died.
Fucking shitty ending, man.
Here's the thing, okay? I did not want to make the same mistake as I did back in the James Bond episode where I had not seen any of the movies. So here, it's like, okay, they told me, unfortunately, you have to know what happens in 2 and 3 to understand 4. So I'm like, okay, I'll watch it. But I was hoping with how bad 2 and 3 were, how I had to power through them, that 4 would make up for it. It didn't.
No.
Sorry.
Just no.
I did have more fun watching these because I was under the pretense of it being a bad movie already. So
Yeah, it was still fun. It's fun to hate watch.
yeah.
Yeah, it's totally a hate watch.
I mean, it's you just.
I didn't want to hate it.
I didn't want to really. We just wanted it to make up for the atrocities of 2 and 3, but unfortunately, it's in the same boat.
No,
Still
no,
pretentious.
it's on a different league of its own.
Sabagay.
It's like it's lower than the third one, in my opinion.
I really like seeing Priyanka Chopra, honestly.
Oh yes.
I loved seeing her.
I love Priyanka.
And even the character she plays, apparently she's the little girl from,
The Train.
That was a callback I actually appreciated.
Yes, I did too.
Yes, because it made some kind of narrative sense that the little girl from where Dumbledore was dead came back.
Dumble dead?
Look, fucking hell,
It's not King's Cross.
Well, Dumbledore was talking to Neo, remember? In that movie? When they were both kind of dead?
I think you're confused. But yes, it was
Okay, I know they're
very
both
white-trained.
under Warner Brothers, but you're talking about two very different franchises.
It would have been a better movie. But, it was nice to see her and what they were trying to go for. More of that stuff would have helped, honestly.
Yeah.
More of that stuff. But,
I agree.
because it leans so hard on what came before and won't stop fucking talking about it.
They'd even show you on screen through another screen.
Yeah. It
Snippets of the old movies.
It just takes you out of it, honestly.
Yeah.
If there was a movie about bugs and new Morpheus and new Agent Smith on a new mission and
Priyanka.
with Priyanka, absolutely. In some kind of a new story, maybe keep old Jada Plinkett. Fine, that would have been cool too.
Heck, I would have taken the story of old Nairobi more than what we got.
I agree.
Yeah.
It
Why
would have been
she's
cool.
so jaded now.
Mm.
Oh well.
Well, I guess it's safe to say that we would not recommend this movie to anybody.
What if you're drunk?
True, or we would if you were in the mood for a hate watch.
Okay, here it depends. Okay, I'm gonna try to be fair here since I feel sorry for this movie. We've been trashing it this whole time. My answer is it depends because this sequel opens up whole new possibilities for the franchise. Were they necessary? No, but it depends on how you feel about this new beginning, so to speak. So if you somehow have an attachment to the franchise, maybe you grew up on it, or no judgment, you actually enjoyed the first three and would love to see Neo and Trinity again, by all means, go for it. Take note, just Neo and Trinity though, because Morpheus and Smith are not really like Morpheus and Smith, and Niobe's still herself, but is now hella old here. So yeah, if you are a fan, genuinely, just okay, watch it. You would want to see how this unfolds. And if you hated Reloaded and Revolutions and just want nothing to do with the franchise anymore, then it's a hard no. I don't think it has the redemption you're looking for. And if you're like me, and if you're like me who was told to just watch the first one and leave the rest alone to not taint the beauty of the original, please, by all means, keep doing that.
Yes, I agree.
But alas, I host this podcast and we had to talk about it. So I had to power through the last two. Was it worth it? My mind says no, but my heart says yes because I love you guys. There.
You powered through all of the last three.
I know, I am impressed.
Sacrificio for content. I can't believe I'm saying this. This is for content. Do I want to take back those few days?
I have an actual fun Easter egg. The guy who was playing Trinity's fake husband is Chad Stahelski. He was Keanu's stunt double on the original Matrix movies, and he directed John Wick.
Oh.
The fuck? Why didn't he choreograph this damn movie?
Why didn't he?
I don't know. In fact, did you know? Did you know that the reason the John Wick movies got made was because two of the stunt guys got together with Keanu and said, we've got a cool idea for a movie. And that's pretty much why I did it. Because he learned to trust his life with these guys making those three movies. And at the end of the third movie, he bought them all Harleys. He bought them all Rolexes because he's just the nicest guy. Because, these guys make him look good. He took care of everybody. So later on, they had an idea they wanted to make this movie. And getting an A-list actor on board, it really helped and launched their careers as action directors.
That's cool.
It is.
That's even a cooler story than the whole 2, 3, 4 of the Matrix series. 2, 3, 4.
You want an even cooler one? He's also the guy who doubled for Brandon Lee after he was killed on the set of The Crow. So he's the one who doubled for Brandon Lee and they CGI'd Brandon Lee's face onto him.
Oh, that's interesting. That's really fucking cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess you have all our thoughts. I think we've had all our feelings. We let out all our feelings and pain the past hour or so. Thank you for bearing with us.
This episode was the equivalent of like pouring kerosene on the movie and setting it on fire.
Probably. That was kind of fun trashing it though.
I'd still watch it though for the pretty people, sure.
pretty
But-
people.
Yes. But okay, I'm not gonna try to appreciate the story anymore. I'm so sorry.
No, you do
No.
not.
You've done your service.
You
For
either
the
watch
content.
it.
For the
You watch
content.
it either A, if you feel obligated to complete the narrative of the Matrix, or
I should have left it
B.
at one.
I can't think of a second reason. I'm sorry.
Jessica Henwick.
Okay, Jessica Henwick.
Jessica Henwick.
Jessica
Yes.
Henwick. Okay, and with that, we end our episode on the Matrix. Thank God. Okay, for any of you guys who have any thoughts, any suggestions for us to do for the next couple of episodes, or any movies you want us to check out, you can hit us up on our socials on Instagram at sub_auteurs, or our Facebook group, Sub-Auteurs We Like Movies, and our Facebook page, Sub-Auteurs. Again, I'm Anjo.
I was too tired to sing you out. I usually,
No distractions. I distracted myself.
usually whoever does the extra, somebody like tries to sing over it and just
Oh my God, were you gonna do Rage?
but I'm just too exhausted. I don't even want to talk about that Rage cover at the end of the fourth movie. Let's not.
Yeah.
It was forced.
Okay, I'm Mai.
Really was.
And that's Misha, guys, by the way. He's even too tired to say his name.
I'm Misha. This was a movie that
This was a movie.
we watched it. Movie.
We watched it move.
It is movie.
I'm so tired.
Already. Like,
No.
God, this movie.
My
Okay,
fault.
bye. Thank you.
Bye. You know what we didn't mention?
What?
Why the fuck was the Merovingian a homeless dude?
Kasi nga old program siya na dinisplace ni Neo na hindi naman na-purge.
No, I mean, like, why, if you are a respected fucking European actor, would you agree to come back dressed up like a homeless person and just
Dollar bills,
rant in
yo.
French for no reason? Just so
Uh,
bad.
Same reason why I'm asking Monica Bellucci wasn't in it. I would have liked to see her.
I would have loved to see Monica Bellucci, yes.
Yeah.